Coming up in this episode, I'll explain how I turn this into this. And we invest in a fleet of vans to start our own parcels courier business. And there's even time to restore Simon the Squirrel back to full health with our model making skills after his recent and horrifying fall in the home. So here is our corner piece. It's going to become a feature. There's a model that's still got to go onto the very top of it, which I haven't added yet. And I've built this in stages and left it purposely as a kind of a cutaway example so that you can see how we start with the very basics up to the finished scenery. So let's just have a look at the very bottom. The underside of this is all the block work is all polystyrene in this example. I prefer Celotex, which is the product that you saw at the beginning, the cream-based product. But with the number of deliveries we've got coming into our house, our new house at the moment, polystyrene either gets used or it goes to landfill. I'd rather use it. So underneath all this, bear in mind, is a whole assortment of polystyrene blocks glued together. Once that was dried, I then covered the entire surface with mod rock, and you can see the mod rock here. Couple of layers of it, and you need to give this stuff time to dry. You need to give everything time to dry in between stages of progress. Otherwise, you'll end up in a mess, believe me. After the mod rock, of course, then I went to sculptor mold, which is the sort of icing sugar effect that you can see here. And you can get this stuff as smooth and as flat as you like, but of course we're not recreating a golf course putting green here. This is Mother Nature, so we want some variation in it, and you'll see that very shortly. Once the mod rock, once the sculptor mold had dried, I then applied a couple of coats of basic green paint that I had lying about. You don't want any white showing through this if you leave gaps in the scenery. And you can see there that at the sort of middle of the screen, there's only one coat applied. And then if we look at this sort of area over here, at the edge of the Scenics that I have installed, we're sort of getting towards two coats. It just darkens it down a little bit and gives you a bit more of a base covering. So after that, I used some of the sculptor mold to build these rock formations. There's one there and one there, and there's a little one built into that bit of hillside there. And at the moment, they've been treated with some cream paint. I think it was one of the Vallejo flesh colour paints, and some black. I'll be going over those again with 2 or 3 more layers of paint of different shades to make them more realistic. But don't forget your highlights in your rocks, you know, and that's why the cream's there. There are rocks, of course, that are just grey, but we want to create a point of interest here. Once that had all dried off, I then started with some basic scatter. And there's a couple of variations on here, one of which is, of course, the Woodland Scenics Fine Turf. I use that a lot. I just like the shade of it. It's trying to get it so the camera does it. There we go. It's sort of a drab olive green. It's, you know, not too bright. You don't want these things to be luminous. Just straighten that tree up while it dries. And after the scatter had been applied and dried, I then went on and added some Woodland Scenics clump bushes, and I've installed a few trees as well. At the very back of the layout of the diorama here, we've got some bushing and some hedging. And of course, the whole thing's going to fit into that corner, partly to hide the mess I made of the backdrop there. I hate backdrops, and I'm really good at wallpapering. If you know of a backdrop that works, and these are Gauge Master ones, and I like them a lot, but why? I could wallpaper anything, but putting on a scenic backdrop is a nightmare. But once we come down to the sort of view that you're going to get, and ignore the white blobs, that's just the PVA drying for the trees. But once that's installed in the corner, it really is going to be a feature piece of this layout, especially with that surprise product that's going to appear there very shortly. So what I'll do now I've left this for the purpose of this video, is that I will finish the sculptor mold on the lower edge, paint everything, and complete the Scenics all the way over this piece. I've also, by the way, painted the backs of this Scenic piece in the green, and that's because I don't want any daylight, any white light sort of popping up between this piece and my backdrop. And you can see there that I've painted the base area for this cornered piece as well, all for the same reason. We're trying to recreate a look of realism. I want to talk a little bit about drying time. You will find on YouTube people working with sculptor mold and mod rock and all the rest of it and saying, and after 20 minutes I did this. No, you didn't. This layer of sculptor mold in places is 1 centimetre thick. 4 days drying time. The mod rock, minimum, I would suggest, of 36 hours before you start messing around with it further. You really do need some patience and allow these products to dry off before you go ahead with the next layer. And that's one of the reasons why in my previous video about using the basic sort of setup of a very basic DCC bus and playing trains for a little while, you need to do more than one thing on the go if you can. Otherwise, you're going to lose your mojo, believe me. It really is important to keep everything going. I've got plenty to do here because this whole room is still a long, long way from finished. Now, these 4 vans are all in the Oxford diecast range, or from the Oxford diecast range, I should say. And they're absolutely lovely, extremely well detailed. And I've bought this set along with a few other wagons of the relative period because I want to have some life in my model railway, in my diorama. And they are absolutely beautiful, very, very highly detailed, and I would thoroughly recommend them. And from my point of view, the only thing wrong with these models right now is that they're way too shiny. So they're going to get a little bit of weathering treatment just to bring them that little bit closer to reality. They need paint fade, they need a bit of dirt applied, not too much, just a little bit. And if we can, we're going to get a couple apart and stick some drivers in them as well. That'll be coming up in a future video. But right now, aren't they beautiful? Now, sadly, Simon the Squirrel did recently suffer a fall in the home, and as a result sustained 2 serious injuries. But we've got our model making skills to the task, and having repaired the shattered holes with some mod rock, what's going to happen next is that he'll get some filler over that mod rock just to sort of remove the porous bits, and then we'll sand down the edges and give him a coat of paint. Hopefully he'll be restored to full health and he can get back on duty out in the garden. But it's a good example of how the model making skills that we acquire over the years can be put to uses, possibly for which they were not really intended, you know. And it's great to see, you know. We could throw this away and buy another. They don't cost a lot of money. But let's give ourselves a little bit of a challenge and a test and see just how good a model maker we really are. And I think once he's sanded down and filled and repainted, he'll be as good as new. That's it for this one. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you found it interesting. If you have any advice or helpful suggestions, please, as always, leave them in the comments below. And we will see you next time at St. Blazy Model World. Thanks for your time. Bye-bye. Bye-bye for now.